everyone, Sam Winslow here, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about how to make tea in the woods. So there's different ways of doing it, but I'm going to show you one of the ways I do it. And again, I'm going to use the my solo stove. I'm going to do a little shout out because another YouTuber I know, Mark Young, he had asked in the comments of a previous video how I go about loading a solo stove. I want to mention the river you hear in the background. Hopefully it's not too loud. That is the Phantom Falls in Upper Muscatawbin. So that's where we are today. So I'll just explain quick how I go about loading my solo stove. So I've got some birch bark in there, all kind of shredded up and piled up there. And what I do is I've got whatever it is I'm using. Today I'm going to use a ferro rod and a cotton ball. Or whatever it is I'm going to use to ignite, I have that ready to go. And I like to have a pile of wood with me. I've got some little pieces, some small ones. I've got them all broken up for the most part. I'll still have to do a bit of breaking. And what I do is I start off with smaller pieces and I transition to bigger. So that's for Mark. He had asked about that. So I'll just demonstrate that. It's all ready. So I start off with nice little pieces and transition to bigger. So I'll get my, once I can get this back on, I'll start feeding it and I'll get the water on. So we've got, it's been going for a couple minutes now. I'm starting to get some bubbles. And it's doing pretty well. I got the towel out, the pot holder out for holding on to the pot. So it's only been a couple minutes now and we're starting to see about 2 cups of water starting to boil. Alright, so we've got our water. It's come to a pretty good rolling boil now. As you can see by the steam, hopefully. Now, it took a little longer than it usually does just because we're right by the river and we've had a pretty good, pretty strong wind. You're probably picking that up on the camera. I don't know for sure. I'll find out later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the water off. I'm going to take the water off the stove. Set that down for a second because you don't want it to be scalding hot when you put your tea in. Just because if you boil your water and then add your tea to it right afterwards, what happens is you can end up scorching the tea or coffee, or whether it be wild tea, orange pekoe, or something you brought from the store, such as orange pekoe, I should say. You can actually end up scorching it and hurting some of the tea. It'll alter the flavor and you can actually bring out more of the tannins. So the tannins will actually come out of the tea grinds even more so when you do that. So I'm actually going to set the stove down. No, I'm going to let that cool down for a little bit before I do that. So quite often when I'm out in the woods, what I'll do is I'll actually put the tea straight into the billy can, into the pot here, and I'll drink it like that. If I have tea bags, so loose, let it settle to the bottom. If I have tea bags, I'll use that, but because I can actually sometimes taste the bag itself, whether it's made out of plastic or some type of fabric, I've actually taken to drinking loose tea. So how I prepare loose tea, when I have the time, and I'm not just going to chuck it in and just drink as much of it as I can, filter the tea grinds through my teeth or whatever, I'm going to bring a separate cup, and in that separate cup I'm going to set a strainer. And I'm going to want to put about a teaspoon of tea in this case, I'm just going to eyeball it a little bit. Now, kind of on a cool day like today, I figure the water's probably cooling off quite a bit now. Still got some steam. What I'll do is I'll pour the water over the tea grinds, tea leaves rather. That's one way you can make a nice individual cup of tea in the woods. You can do the same thing at home if you have another type of tea strainer, or a tea strainer much like this one. You can pour your hot water over the tea leaves and let it sit inside your cup for no longer than 5 minutes sometimes, because the longer you let it sit, actually for orange pekoe, certain types of orange pekoe, I like to let it sit for only a minute or two. It's steep, because otherwise it ends up being really strong tasting. And while I don't mind that, I've learned to appreciate a different cup of tea. So, yeah. So I'm hoping you learned something here today about preparing tea in the woods. You can use the same type of thing for preparing a large pot for a group of people. But I thought I'd just show you how I make a cup of tea on the trail or by a riverside. So as always, thanks for watching. I hope you guys like this video, and feel free to click like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll get to enjoy some more tea with you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.